We're back, we're racing, and we are talking the Hungarian Grand Prix. And did we have another humdinger of a race? We got to see two of the most exciting racers go toe-to-toe in this race. We'll get on to it in a minute. But it was clear track, no sign of rain compared to the last race. And it was Max Verstappen starting in pole position, the first ever Dutch person to get pole position. And he got a good start this time. Good clean run down into turn one, held the inside line. Valtteri Bottas locking up with his teammate, going all the way around the outside, putting himself in danger, Lewis Hamilton, going into turn one. The Ferraris having a sniff right behind. You can see Vettel getting a bit of a lock on going into turn one. But it was pretty clean racing, no collisions in the opening first corner. Down to turn two, it was a real battle there. And Lewis Hamilton managed to hang it round the outside, get round Valtteri Bottas, who locked up once again, and actually collided with his teammate Bottas with the front right or front left of his car. Further on here, we can see where the contact was made between the two Mercedes drivers. It could have been disaster. That could have resulted in a puncture or anything like that. But he managed to go on, keep racing. Bottas, unfortunately, did suffer more damage with a collision with Charles Leclerc, which hindered him. He had to get a pit. He had to put on a new front wing way too early in the race. You can see it here on the opening lap of the race. And that was really Valtteri Bottas. His contract is up. We'll get onto that later. So it was really a poor performance from him today. But yes, Max Verstappen looked like he got a good start, got underway, and was really controlling the pace. Lewis Hamilton, though, was really applying the pressure, started to dial it up, and was really attacking Max Verstappen in the opening phases of the race. So it was great to see these two going toe-to-toe. The Mercedes did look a bit faster, and it was towards the end of the race where Lewis Hamilton boxed, got that extra stop, and managed to overtake Max Verstappen for the lead of the Grand Prix after doing the two-stop compared to the one-stop. He was on the medium, fresher tyre as well, and he brought it home for his, what is it now, the 8th race of the season, 8 out of 12 he has won this season. He has been dominating, absolutely dominating, this guy. And it's his 7th Hungarian Grand Prix victory as well. So a real master around this circuit in particular. So good mutual respect amongst the two there. Great driving between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. And we saw Vettel sneak onto the podium. He done the same, got an extra stop as well, and got past his teammate Charles Leclerc with different strategy. So good feel-good factor. That will give Sebastian Vettel some confidence, I would say, going into the second half of the season after that good performance in Hockenheim as well, that comeback. Max Verstappen got the extra point for the fastest lap, a 1:17.1 compared to Lewis's 1:18.5. That just shows he put that new tyre on right at the end. But it was Hamilton, Verstappen, Vettel. Leclerc finished just behind his teammate. Then there was Carlos Sainz, managed to keep Pierre Gasly behind him. That's got to have implications in my mind. But a great performance for Sainz. Really impressed with him this season. Gasly, not impressed with him at all in P6 there. Kimi Raikkonen finished in P7, a great performance. Bottas, P8, really had to fight back through this race. And you can see they all got lapped out to Sainz there. And that just shows the pace of these front runners here in Hamilton and Verstappen, because Vettel himself was a minute over back. But rounding out the points, we had Norris, Albon, Perez, then Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Kvyat, George Russell, P16, finishing ahead of Lance Stroll, Giovinazzi, and his teammate Robert Kubica. A great performance for George. And we'll get on to the Williams boys in a while. We had one DNF. That was Roman Grosjean, and he must be looking over his shoulder, because performances over the last, this season in particular, have not come to fruition. And I would like to see him out of that seat. But yeah, a great Grand Prix. Some real mixed results there. Raikkonen showing his performance. Gasly, again, with his teammate, battling for the win and finishing over a lap down. Really concerning times for Gasly. But credit where credit's due. The Mercedes boys done the job. They played the trump card with that strategy call. They could do that. That's the thing. If Pierre Gasly was in that window, that pit stop window, they wouldn't have done that, because, you know, that car would cause them trouble in terms of the strategy. But Gasly is not there to do that. But Valtteri Bottas as well, he wasn't there. If he had been there, I doubt Mercedes would have opted for that, and it might have got a bit of more of a boring race. But anyway, it played out to be a fantastic ending with Lewis Hamilton catching at some points over 3 seconds a lap to Verstappen. So just really showing how the drop off in performance for Verstappen. But Lewis said it was very, very difficult to get by. I wasn't sure if I could close the 19-second gap, but the team just said to get your head down. So I did. And it was hammer time, and he delivered. And Lewis Hamilton delivers once again, 8 out of 12 Grand Prix that is for him, which is an incredible feat in itself. So yeah, really riding that confidence going into the second part of the season where Lewis tends to be strong is quite worrying when you think about it. Valtteri Bottas is looking at a fight back in this Grand Prix. He did make multiple overtakes. He did have a good package in his car, but ultimately it just fell apart for him in the opening, that opening lap in particular, then with the pit stop as well for the front nose cone. I can really see Ocon taking his drive. It'll be sad to see. He said, I tried everything I could, but it was really tough to overtake. At least I got some points, but we'll analyze what happened and learn from it. I think it's past the point of learning. I think he's had his chance now, and I think they will roll the dice and they will put Ocon in there. He may need a drink after this Grand Prix. We saw Bottas making some cocktails before the race. Maybe that's why his performance was off. Getting on to Red Bull, great pace this weekend. I know it's a track which should suit them, but showing great performance, great pace around here. Max Verstappen in particular was the driver of the day. He really got his elbows out. He really maximized that car as much as he could, and brought home the best result possible. He was clean. He was fair. He's matured into a great racer now, and you can see that mutual respect amongst Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton at the end of the Grand Prix. And Lewis is really relishing the opportunity. He said in an interview that he loved this. This is the first battle he's had in a long time, where it was lap after lap after lap, where he had to pump in the times, quali times. And Max said, we gave it our all, but Lewis was clearly a bit faster than us today. Overall, it was a good weekend, and getting pole position was a great step for us. Great achievement for the Red Bull and the Honda, remember, in the back of that car, which was nowhere a few years ago. And really good to see Max Verstappen performing, but he does need a stronger teammate. He needs someone to be his rear gunner and to fend off the likes of that strategy which Lewis Hamilton pulled on him in this Grand Prix. Pierre said we finished the race in P6 and scored some points, but for sure it was not the amount we wanted. You need to start thinking about the team, boy, not yourself. And I think that should go away, your confidence issue. But could we see Kvyat take that position? Could we see Alexander Albon, for instance, in that drive? Let me know your thoughts. Who's going to be in the driver lineup next year in that Red Bull car? Going to be very interesting. They had the likes of Carlos Sainz ready and waiting there to go up into the top team, but that never came to fruition. And what a driver he's looking at right now. Gasly really needs to step it up. We've got some good tracks coming up in the likes of Belgium and Monza, which probably won't suit their car. The boss of Honda said the result demonstrated that the championship leading team still has the edge over us in performance terms, and today a great driver and a good race management saw them take the win. Therefore, we have to improve the PU chassis package if we want to win more races after the summer break. For Toro Rosso, Alex produced a strong race from 12th on the grid to get a valuable point. Given the team's performance over the whole weekend, realistically, this was the best result we could expect. So, yeah, let's put it into reality. Mercedes still look like they've got the faster car. Red Bull challenged for the win, which was punching above their weight. But Lewis Hamilton managed to get round them and to secure the win. Moving on to Ferrari, really disappointing. Nowhere. There was over a minute off at the end of the Grand Prix. They finished third and fourth. Charles Leclerc looking pacey in the opening phases, and then Vettel coming back with the strategy in the later phases and actually getting his elbows out. You can see how tight it was down into turn one. And he managed to secure that final podium spot. Didn't look overwhelmed with it, I must say. He was calmly drinking his champagne. He wasn't celebrating wildly. But I think it will do the world of good for his confidence in Sebastian Vettel, and hopefully he can push on and have better performances in the second half of the season. He did say this was the first time he's really felt at one with the car. He's felt comfortable with it, and especially around a twisty track, that bodes well. Charles Leclerc had a bit of an issue in qualifying. The team done really well to get him back out for Q2 with a fully fixed car. McLaren, another good performance from the boys, especially Carlos Sainz, really leading that team now, and Lando Norris, picking up points as well. So you're really impressed with McLaren. They've probably been the star performers of the opening part of the season, because they are leading that not GP2 class, but Formula 1.5. There, Carlos Sainz in particular is heading up that World Championship of the best of the rest. and really putting in consistent performances now. The car looks reliable. The car looks quick. It looks agile. It looks, you can adapt it to different kinds of racetracks as well. So yeah, credit where credit's due. Good job, McLaren. Keep up the good work, and we hope you go well in the upcoming races. Here we can see it, McLaren HQ in the VIP here, getting a real inside knowledge with the team radio and all the communications between the team there. Lando Norris has been performing well at the opening phase of this season, and I expect him to continue as he has. He had round the outside of K-Mag, I think it was. Really ballsy move to go around the outside of K-Mag. A great performance from him. And what can we say about George Russell? Really performed well, qualified in front of Racing Point, for instance, and managed to actually race cars. So his dream come true today. He got to be a Formula One driver racing other teams, like in an actual Grand Prix, and he managed to hold off the likes of a Haas for a while. He finished ahead of a Racing Point and also a Giovinazzi as well. So yeah, I was really pleased to see that. That must really put a smile on the faces of the Williams team, because they're actually racing amongst other people now, not just themselves. So hopefully this development will stay in the right direction, and more to come. Long may it continue. So good job from the Williams boys. And Robert Kubica as well. What do we make of him? Is he going to see another year in Formula One? Is it time? Is it going to be time if Williams do start performing and he is 1.3 seconds back from his teammate? Will it be time to put someone else into that seat who can compete with the pace of Russell, to score points potentially? I think that is a possibility. So watch out for that one. It might finish after this season. So yeah, it's been a tough season for Kubica. He has a handicap. Alfa Romeo, good job on Kimi's side of the garage. Got home in P7, like his number, and great performance from him. Good pace. He was there or thereabouts, and just showing his true class. He doesn't lose it with his age. Giovinazzi, on the other hand, had a bit of a tardy start. Got really sandwiched into turn one and got pushed to the back of the grid. Really didn't work out for the rest of the Grand Prix. Didn't have a lightning pace, and finished behind Russell, as we said. So a good performance from Alfa. They've come back alive over the last few Grand Prix in these exciting races in particular. So long may that continue. A good performance from them. Next up, we're talking about Renault. Renault just wasn't there, was they, today? Danny Rick, he looked a bit punchy in the opening laps, but a poor result today with both cars outside the top 10. With Nico, we were targeting points, but with an engine having to run in safe mode and a very modest advantage over the soft tyre starters, we could not make our strategy work. Daniel ran a good race, but starting last is always going to be a challenge at a track like Budapest. He still managed to gain several positions and had a good fight with Magnussen until the last corner, showing that he is a fighter who does not surrender. His attitude on track must be an inspiration for us as we head towards the summer break, with first half of the season well below our objectives. Yes, they've not brought it home. They've showed glimpses of pace, potential, but it's not there. Daniel Ricciardo, they've got a great driver with him. If he can put him up against the likes of Sainz, he will outperform him, in my opinion, given the right equipment, of course. But his car's not performing. He's struggling to adapt to life in Renault because he just doesn't have the pace there. When you watch them, they're just miles off the back of the Red Bull in particular, and also the McLaren just totally dominating them in the early phases. So looking at about P5 in terms of the championship, maybe even P6 with Alfa just slightly ahead of them. So work to do at Renault. At Haas, again, we had different spec cars. We've got the brand new spec on Romain Grosjean, and it was a pretty tough race for us. In the end, we showed some fight and some with some other midfield teams. A lot is in the tyres, which makes these races so unpredictable and weird almost. Kevin put up a good fight, and unfortunately, Roman's tyres just died on him. Then we had an issue with his water pressure. That's why he retired the Grand Prix. So, yeah, another pretty dismal Grand Prix, no points on the board. And after the last few seasons where they was really punching in good results, it's really fallen apart from them. Expect there to be driver changes amongst the Haas lineup. I would personally keep maybe Kevin Magnussen, but he can be quite a fiery character. Romain Grosjean, he hasn't really showed his true potential. I think it's time for him to step aside. And who would you like to see in that race seat? Would you like to see a young Ferrari driver? Moving on later, we'll see that Mick Schumacher ran his first Grand Prix in F2 I think it'll be a bit too early to promote a youth driver, but we could see the likes of a Hulkenberg or someone else switch teams come silly season. So yeah, what's your thoughts on that? And what's your opinions on these two drivers? Have they just played it stupid, or has it just been a wrong place, wrong time situation in the opening phases of this season? Uh, Yes, moving on to Racing Point. Perez finished in 11th, Stroll in P17. Perez really maximising that car. Never really suited to the Hungaroring. And yeah, that showed its true colours today. Really unlucky to miss out on the points. Sergio had a lot better race than the last Grand Prix where he binned it in the opening phases of Germany. And yeah, he'll be probably happy with his drive. Disappointed not to score points. But the upgrades look to be coming well now. They've got the money behind them, so they're sort of catching up in the development race, and expect them to be there in the next Grand Prix, because the likes of Belgium Monza will suit them with their aero package. The Toro Rosso lads, Kvyat had a pretty racy, was toe-to-toe with his teammates, and Alexander Albon had to pull out of it. We're going into turn 4, I think it was. Great to see them racing wheel-to-wheel. But I'm sure the team bosses wasn't really happy when they saw this moment right here, because you're going for a massive corner doing about 3-4G at least. And yeah, that's just a bit silly there. We saw this big oil spill. We've got some great shots there of the dust kicking up. We saw Sergio Perez getting overtaken by Danny Rick when they was about to do their quali laps. And that caused some controversy. Mick Schumacher got his first win in F2. Great performance by him, and hopefully that gives him some confidence and he'll win a few more going into the later stages of this season in F2. First Grand Prix win, like we say. So long may that continue. It's great to see the Schumacher name back in the sport. And here we can see the different stints on the tyres, fastest laps. So every now and then we feel like we're against the current, but don't worry about it. Don't be fazed by it. Yes, they didn't go well, and you hope for better days. So it was brave at Hamilton to go around the outside of Verstappen. Very brave in particular. But I think that's that mutual respect once again, which really distinguishes them two as racing drivers. And it's great to talk about Max Verstappen like that now. But another cracking race. We've been really blessed after really slating F1 when it came to France this year. What reaction we've had. And we hope this will continue going into the second half of the season. Thanks for watching. Give me some comments. Who was your driver of the day? What was the move of the day? And who do we expect to move around in the driver market? Cheers. See you later.